How's everyone doing? This is going to be my reaction video to the 85th Academy Awards, the Oscars. And if you saw the Oscars, definitely let me know what you think of them as well. Let me know what your favorite and least favorite moments were, and what you thought of Seth MacFarlane as the host, and the Oscars as an overall experience as well. Personally, I didn't care for Seth MacFarlane as the host. I thought he was awful. He wasn't the worst Oscar host ever, but coming very close. He over-explained his jokes. He had a couple of good jokes here and there, like the Ben Affleck one early on. I liked that one a lot, but then he went too far with it. He did the Good Will Hunting line right there, which I don't think a lot of people actually got, but that line wasn't actually to Ben Affleck in the movie. It was to Matt Damon in the movie. It's not your fault. I mean, come on. You know, I like what he was trying to do, but he just went a little too far with it, and it kind of took the audience out of it. And a lot of his jokes, he would say something and it would work, and then he would say something else after it. And I'm like, don't worry, folks, that was the worst one ever. Or that's the worst it's going to be. And no, it's not. Just kidding. And it just went too far with it. It's just, I understand, it's a big stage, probably the biggest stage he's ever been on. And, maybe some, nerves and stage fright, stuff like that. He was a very good singer, though, which I was, he does the whole Family Guy. He does, singing a lot in there. But I was impressed with what he did with that aspect of it. But the jokes, a lot of them were in very poor taste, and they weren't the right venue for the Oscars to present those kinds of jokes. He kind of needs to reel his ego in a little bit. It's kind of like a one-man performance. It's not there to kind of present yourself. You gotta know your audience, and this wasn't the audience for a lot of his jokes. A lot of tasteless jokes that were just out of place. The Oscars are old school, they're classy. You can push the envelope, but do it in the right way. And even when Billy Crystal pushed the envelope, it wasn't in a tasteless manner like Seth MacFarlane did. And Seth MacFarlane, not the worst Oscar host ever. That'll definitely go to James Franco, even though he was co-hosting with Anne Hathaway, and she did her best to kind of salvage that situation. But James Franco will go down in history as the worst Oscar host ever. Just an abysmal performance, just horrendous debacle. He seemed like he didn't even care, he didn't even want to be there. It was just right from the onset, he just kind of gave up on it. And I don't know what drugs he was on, but it was just awful to watch. It was a train wreck. And nobody will ever beat that as the worst Oscar host performance. That's just... Even Ricky Gervais hosting the Golden Globes did a better job. And Seth MacFarlane, I think he was a little bit better than Ricky Gervais. A little bit better. Not by much. But hopefully, I don't know if... Do you think Seth MacFarlane deserves a second chance to host again? I don't know. I personally don't think so. Let me know what you guys thought of Seth MacFarlane as the host. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh. And let me know who you would like to see host the Oscars in the future. Personally, I like Billy Crystal a lot. He did a great job last year. I know he's hosted like 10 times. I like Chris Rock a lot as well. I thought he did a great job. I'd love to see him back. I'd like to see, Tom Hanks. I'd like to see Eddie Murphy. I know he had the issue with Academy and Brett Ratner and all that kind of stuff. I'd like to, I'd like to see Eddie Murphy and the Academy kind of hug it out. I'd like to see him on stage doing it. And maybe Conan O'Brien. I think that he'd be a pretty good host as well. Now, my favorite moments for the Oscars would be, first off, Quentin Tarantino winning for Best Original Screenplay for Django Unchained. He should have been nominated for Best Director, but Ben Affleck should have been nominated for Best Director. The Sessions should have been nominated for Best Picture. Leonardo DiCaprio should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Django Unchained. I know, Christoph Waltz was also nominated, but you also had Melissa Leo and Amy Adams for The Fighter. So, you could have that for the same movie, two people in the same category. But I can't believe Leonardo DiCaprio hasn't won an Oscar. I mean, that's crazy. And also let me know what snubs you think there were. I mean, personally, the big ones were Ben Affleck not being nominated for Best Director, and Quentin Tarantino not being nominated for Best Director, The Sessions not being nominated for Best Picture, and Leonardo DiCaprio not being nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Those are my big ones, but let me know if you think there's any other ones. And back to my favorite moments. Quentin Tarantino, I love that he won that, and I loved his speech as well. And the Jaws theme music was coming out. He talked over. He's like, no. I like that a lot. And then Ben Affleck, I think the best speech of the night goes to Ben Affleck. You can tell he was really moved. You can tell he wanted to get on stage too. One of the other producers was on there. He was trying to. He looked like he was real antsy trying to get on there, but you could tell it was really heartfelt and emotionally honest. He won for Good Will Hunting, was it 10, however many years ago it was? I don't know, it was a long time ago, and he thought, he would never get back to that point, and, he's got to you have to let all the different issues with people go, and that was just a great moment right there, and you could tell it was really just heartfelt, and that was awesome that he won for Argo. I think everybody thought that Argo was going to win. It was kind of a shoo-in, and I'm glad that it did. And I did love the movie. It was my third favorite movie of the year, behind Life of Pi and The Sessions. And Argo, it's a deserving winning picture, so I'm happy with that, definitely. I also like seeing Ted on there. I thought Ted was an entertaining movie. I love the buddy comedy aspect to it, but I didn't really like the relationship drama aspect to the movie. But Ted, I love the character of Ted. It was cool to see him on there. And Shirley Bassey singing on there for the Bond 50 Years. I thought that was really cool as well. I actually prefer her singing performance way over Adele. So that's just me personally. And I actually prefer that song over Adele's Skyfall too. Have you actually listened to the lyrics for Skyfall? Not a big fan of the lyrics. Wasn't a huge fan of the performance for Adele. I know I'm in the vast minority. Everything I heard was, oh, Adele was awesome. She blew it away. Blah blah blah. I'm like, meh. The song just, the movie, awesome movie, one of the best Bond films ever, definitely. But I prefer Shirley Bassey on there. It was great to see her on there. Awesome performance. And that's actually one of my biggest issues of the whole Oscars. A lot of the singing performances and a lot of the hosting performances and things like that just felt kind of flat. Just they weren't really vibing very well. And there's some huge in memoriam snubs. I mean, Andy Griffin, Phyllis Diller, Alex Karras, Larry Hagman. I mean, come on. Huge snubs right there. I remember in the past they've left people out, like Corey Haim. When Corey Haim passed away, I was shocked they left him out. I know you can fit so many more people in the in memoriam, but there's some ones that I just think, that need to be there. And Kristen Stewart, apparently she hurt her leg. She was kind of hobbling on stage, but she was, kind of sporting her great acting range like she normally does. She was kind of channeling her inner James Franco right there. It just kind of seemed like she was on Valium, seemed like she didn't care to be there. I know you might have hurt your leg, and just suck it up for the 2 minutes that you're out there. It's a great honor to be out there for the Oscars. She just seemed really disinterested, and just not a big fan of hers in general. But I know a lot of people are. That just was another thing. I was like, cringeworthy. I think all the choices for the nominations, even though there's a few snubs, but the choices that did win were all deserving. There was really no big surprises or upsets or anything like that, and I really liked all the choices. Argo Best Picture, I think everybody kind of expected that. Christoph Waltz for Best Supporting Actor, again, definitely deserving. Great performance. I thought there could have been an upset there, but I'm glad they went with Christoph Waltz. I was pretty much on point with all my picks. I posted on my Facebook who I thought would win and who I want to win. They're basically, it all worked out right there. I would have loved to have seen Helen Hunt win for her Best Supporting Acting role or Actress role in The Sessions, because I thought that movie was incredible. I thought her performance was incredible. But Anne Hathaway winning, she deserves to win. That was a great performance. Les Mis, there you go. And I know a lot of people crapped on Brave, but I thought for me, by far the best animated feature film. I like Wreck-It Ralph, but it was distant second in my opinion. Brave was one of the most visually stunning Pixar films ever, and it was kind of a throwback to the classic Disney princess movies. I just loved it, and I was so happy that it won it. Deservedly so. I know a lot of people didn't care for it, but hey, Best Picture right there, Best Animated Feature Film, and deservedly so in my opinion. And Michael Haneke's Amour winning for Best Foreign Language Film. I kind of expected that. I wanted to see War Witch win with Kim to win, but I kind of thought Amour would win. I love that movie. It's very touching, very just heartbreaking as well. And I'm a big fan of Michael Haneke's. Great to see him get a big wing like this. He's got Amour, White Ribbon, Cachet, Piano Teacher, Funny Games. Incredible director. And I'm a big fan of Ang Lee as well. Got Best Director right there for Life of Pi, which was my favorite movie of the year. Just an incredible movie. And again, Ang Lee, big fan of his. My two favorites from his were The Ice Storm and Ride with the Devil. Oh, I love those movies. I've talked about them several times before. And again, Best Actor, Daniel Day-Lewis, kind of a shoo-in right there. One of the best actors of our generation by far. He's been around for so long, and great to see him continue to make such great performances. And Jennifer Lawrence, again, I've talked about this. I thought she, definitely deserved it for Silver Linings Playbook. One of my favorite young actresses. Can't wait to see more from her in the future. Absolutely loved her in Winter's Bone. Talked about that recently as well. And I think she might be coming up close to my #1 celebrity crush now. Very, genuine as well. I've seen a lot of her interviews. She just seems really friendly and naturally nice. So again, I think all the choices that won were deserving, and there were no real big upsets. I also wasn't a big fan of seeing Michelle Obama present Best Picture. I felt like that was really out of place. I don't dislike the First Lady. Just it seems like we see her everywhere lately. She was on Jimmy Fallon the other night doing like a parody, some like dance thing. I didn't really see it. I just saw it on the news, and she's on some other kind of like daytime TV shows doing some kind of interviews and stuff like that. And I just seems like she's just everywhere lately, and it just seemed out of place. And why even have Jack Nicholson come up on stage like that? He basically presented Michelle Obama, who presented the Best Picture. I'd rather see Jack Nicholson present Best Picture, personally. Overall, I would give the 85th Academy Awards, the Oscars, a 7 out of 10 as an overall experience. As far as the hosting and the different performances that they had, I rank that near the bottom, honestly. One of the worst ones in those categories. But as far as the people that won and all the nominations, there were a few snubs, like I mentioned before, but the choices that actually did win, the films that won, deservingly so, some of the better ones like that, that actually deserve to win, and for that kind of raises the whole overall experience up. Hopefully next year they'll have better hosts, better jokes, better performances. You don't have to play it safe, but keep it classy. Come on, know your audience. That's the big thing right there. And I still enjoy it. I know a lot of people are anti-Oscars. There's some things that I don't always agree with Oscars. There's a lot of politics usually and stuff like that, but still I enjoy it, the history of film, and I thought it was still an overall enjoyable Oscar, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you thought of Seth MacFarlane as the host, who you'd like to see host in the future, what you thought of the choices, were there any big snubs for you, your favorite moment, your least favorite moment, the Oscars as an overall experience. Let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment or video response down below. Hope everyone's doing well. Take care.